Last week, if you were here, my lesson was about allowing your physical body and its five senses to support you on your spiritual path of enlightenment and learning. And remember, the word was celebrate. And today I want to talk about respecting yours and everyone else's physical experience as a spiritual being in a magic suit. And this practice of respecting others as their physical forms is a lifelong practice, is it not? Right? So I want to start with the definition of respect, not Aretha's definition, but the Webster's definition. Respect is a feeling of deep admiration for something or someone. So I want to lay down a little bit of a spiritual basics as a foundation of this lesson. And I've actually done some extensive reading on and meditating actually on the subject of honoring your physical life experiences as having been chosen by your soul prior to coming into this form. So I'm not going to try to speak from Ernest Holmes's perspective, but I have considered the Science of Mind teachings as I've explored this subject. And I realize that my beliefs are really not contradictory to our philosophy at all, but they are slightly different. And I invite you to consider these ideas for yourself and see if they're in alignment with your own thoughts on the subject. So let me share just a little bit. So as I was saying, I believe that our energetic essence, commonly referred to as our soul, chose which form to take in this plane. For example, I believe that all species, great and small, including humans, chose the body they would inhabit in this lifetime. And I believe that we choose our forms, or our magic suits, as I like to call them, exactly as they are to help us learn the things we came to learn to further develop our consciousness in this lifetime. Are you following me? Okay, so as a personal example, I believe that my soul, my essence, chose to come into this lifetime as a tall, non-athletic, but kind of muscly, kind of chubby, white, female, lesbian, intelligent, curious, emotionally involved, sensitive, outgoing human form, right? And my list of adjectives are uniquely mine, and I believe that yours would be uniquely yours. So my body, my personality, my mind function the way they function. And that is true for every form on this plane in my belief system. And my talk title is Entitled to Your Respect, because I want us to continue to work on our ability to respect everyone just exactly as they are. Why? Why? Because I believe that the details are the details, not by accident, but by spiritual level choosing, deserving respect and admiration. And first, I think that starts with ourselves. I have spent my whole life learning how to respect my form just exactly the way it is. Remember my saying from a few weeks ago, this quote by Eckhart Tolle: whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. Remember that one? That's a big lesson right there. I could just talk a whole year on that one. Respect it as if you had chosen it. And that applies to my physical form. Accept it as if I had chosen it because I believe that I did. But then I remember that Ernest Holmes took it further. He said, your body is entitled to your respect. And so it is. I'm done. No. So I can tell you that one of my longest, most stubborn lessons of my life is this one. I am asking myself to go beyond accepting my form to actually respecting my soul's choices as wise and necessary and perfect for me. Whew, that's a big one, right? That's taken me some time. I can tell you that, but I am getting there. Because you see, as you can probably relate to, I have often despised being tall and chubby and muscly. It despised it, right? It took quite a few years to accept my being gay. I have battled my personality sometimes, and even sometimes how my brain sorts information. I've wished a million wishes that my body was different, my personality was different. I know I'm not alone, but it starts with me. And I have worked with people, so many people, who cannot accept, much less respect, their own magic suit, their own personality, their own forms of expression. I have congregants and clients who talk to me about having issues accepting and respecting all the details, their height, their weight, their physical challenges, their disabilities, their personalities, their various diagnoses, their hair type, their sexual identity, their gender, and the list goes on and on and on. The lesson is absolutely universal. Would it help? Does it help to recognize that all those details were a purposeful choice on a soul level? Most people that I would introduce that to would kind of brush it aside and say, yeah, I hear you, Laine, but I still can't stand this or that about myself. And then they're back to their old mindset, right? Back to it. And I see my job is to plant that seed, and perhaps it will grow, as we talked about in Sacred Cup, into something better when they're ready to let go of that battle. Moving from accepting to respecting is the move that I'm working on for myself personally. I shared that with y'all. That's my 60th birthday present to myself, right? I may not understand exactly what my soul came here to develop, but I must respect that it chose the perfect form to accomplish that development. And to use an analogy that I often use when describing our magic suits, our body is our vehicle for life, or whatever we came here to do, and I believe our souls chose the right vehicle for the job, so to speak. And I don't want to waste any more of my energy wishing my body or my personality was different, because once I can accept and respect my soul's choices, I can move on more quickly to my journey of learning and growing and healing and evolving what I came here to do, right? So I can affirm things like this. I can affirm my body's perfect for what I came here to do. My personality leads me into the perfect situations for my growth. I am exactly who I am supposed to be in this lifetime. I respect my soul's choices for my life. If I can affirm all that, then I can move on to ask myself some more important questions. Given the body that my soul has chosen, what am I capable of doing in this lifetime? What am I strong enough to learn at this point in my life? How can I be more authentically myself, playing to my personal strengths and abilities? Are there new ways I can grow into more joy and aliveness? How can I use my personal attributes to bring more God energy to my life? Those are way better questions to ask than why the heck is my body the way it is, right? Respecting myself as I am can lead to my making better and stronger choices for my life rather than being bogged down in second guessing and self-loathing. Can you see that? So do you think that you might want to come down this path with me, right? I want to try these affirmations. Can we say them together? Rebecca, put them on a slide one by one so we can say them together. Say it with me. My body is perfect for what I came here to do. Next one. My personality leads me into the perfect situations for my growth. I am exactly who I'm supposed to be in this lifetime. And the last one. I respect my soul's choices for my life. Wow. Doesn't that feel powerful? What if you could really believe and affirm those things for yourself? I'll put those in the newsletter. How about that? So this self-acceptance and soul respectfulness is one half of my lesson. The other half is other acceptance and other soul respectfulness extended to everyone else. And quite frankly, this one has been easier for me. I can accept other people better than I can accept myself, right? But sometimes it's hard for us to accept and respect other people as they struggle through their own life experiences in a body and in a personality that their souls chose for them. We may find it hard to consistently extend respect to people having very different, unrelatable challenges and experiences than our own. And quite often it makes us feel better to view them as less than or greater than. And maybe disabilities are hard, physical, mental, or emotional. Maybe different personalities are hard to respect, especially when we can't feel respected by those people with those personalities, right? Maybe someone else's life challenges are hard to accept and respect, especially when they fall somewhere else on the spectrums of life than we do. For example, on the poverty or wealth spectrum, or on the gender spectrum, or on the racial spectrum, or the religious upbringing spectrum, or whatever spectrum of differences that we human beings made up. The lesson today is about choosing to accept and respect everyone's soul's journey. I want to share a personal challenge with this lesson. And maybe it'll help one of you, somebody, with something they may be dealing with. And I was given this challenge 30 years ago. I talk about it a lot because it's one of my biggest life lessons. So most of you know I have a daughter who was born with extensive disabilities. And we truly didn't know if she was going to live past the first few days, and I've doubted it several times since then, but she's pretty healthy right now. But she still has disabilities and physical differences and neurodiversity challenges, and she always will. And one of the things I believe parents are asked to do is to lead their children to self-acceptance and self-respect. But I can tell you that was a tall order for me. I was angry at her body. I was angry. I just wanted it to be different. I didn't like this body form that her soul chose and all the challenges that came with it. And together we faced the day to day with a sense of humor and humility, and I was still pretty frustrated though. I couldn't see the spiritual wisdom in any of it. I found spirituality, this teaching, when she was 6, and I was shocked every time I heard the word perfection. Everyone is perfect just as they are. Everyone is perfect. I just couldn't see perfection in Kelsey's body at all. Can you relate? But I had some big teaching moments along the way, and I want to share some of them with you. My first teaching moment was this. Shortly after finding the Science of Mind philosophy, I had a spiritual coaching session with my practitioner, Eric. And I asked Eric these questions about my inability to accept that my body's daughter and my daughter's body, I couldn't accept that they were perfect. And it was in that conversation that I was first introduced to this idea that souls may choose to come into a differently abled body to experience human life from a new perspective than they've ever experienced before. Right? He also planted the seed that perhaps my soul had agreed to be her mother in this pathway and mother a child who's differently abled. That was one of my huge teaching moments. Another one was a few years after that. Fast forward a couple of years, and Kelsey and I are walking on a beach here in Florida. Shortly after sunset, we were on vacation. Now, walking barefoot is one of her biggest challenges because normally she wears little leg braces. But because she loves the beach so much, she walks barefoot anyway, very slowly over the sand. So we're walking on this particular night when she was about 8, and we took a rest on a wall. We were waiting for a restaurant to actually call our name for a reservation. And as we sat there, we started one of our big mother-daughter conversations, one of our favorite things to do, passing questions back and forth and answering them. And when it was my turn to ask a question, I asked her this: what would you change about your body if you could? And she barely hesitated, and she firmly answered, nothing. I was, quite frankly, expecting a long list, like stronger legs, or perhaps a urinary and bowel system that works like everybody else's, or a strong heart that didn't need a new valve, or better eyesight, or whatever, and I could probably think of several more. But her answer, nothing, shocked me. But she went on, I'm like, tell me more, because that's what I say, tell me more. She went on to explain that, Mommy, I've never had a different body than the one I have. This is the only body I know. And it feels just fine to me. And she said she had gotten used to how her body worked, and she really wouldn't change a thing. Now, I had projected my long list onto her, right? that I would have changed about her body if I could have. That was my list for her. And then when she turned her question back to me, asking what would I change about my body, I probably mumbled something like, too many to list, honey. Right? Colossal teaching moment, right? And there have been many, many more of these teaching moments along the way. But I want to share a recent one. So, she was here just a couple weeks ago, and I was preparing for this talk. And so I asked her a slightly different question. I asked her, because she's 30, almost 30 now. I said, why do you think your soul would have chosen a disabled body in this lifetime? Just throw it out there. And she said something like this: maybe I'm here to learn how to trust my mind more than my body. And if I'm here to be a writer, I sure wasn't distracted by sports, was I? That's basically her answer. Wow is right. Must have taught her something along the way. But that moment shifted my acceptance of her body that I had adopted on the beach that night when she told me I had to, because she did. Shifted it from acceptance to a deep respect for her body as her soul had chosen it, a divinely perfect choice for her path. And my practice regarding Kelsey is to keep affirming the same things I affirm for myself. Her body is perfect for what she came here to do. Her personality, quirky as it is, leads her into the perfect situations for her own growth. She's exactly who she's supposed to be in this lifetime. I respect her soul's choices for our life together. And we are all called into this practice on a daily basis. And there was a big lesson for all of us this week if we happen to watch the Democratic National Convention. I told Terry earlier this week I'm too old to be a Democrat. They stay up too late. Stay up way too late. Did anybody else watch it? Okay. So anyway, when the vice president candidate, Tim Walz, was speaking, his 17-year-old son was overwhelmed with pride and emotion. He was crying and saying, "That's my dad." And all the cameras were on him. And it was an unusual show of emotion and devotion in a 17-year-old son. And it seems online, in the wicked world of the online, there was this wave of criticism and judgment online, as there always seems to be. And it turns out Tim Walz's son has a disability. And I want to read a mother's response to this judgment. My daughter, Kelsey, actually shared this on her page, and I knew I wanted to use it to illustrate this lesson today. And this is what this mother wrote. My daughter didn't write it, she just shared it. This mother wrote, "Let's talk about the folks who are trying to backtrack on mocking Gus Walz because they didn't know he had a disability, right? Okay, so let's start with the fact that he's a 17-year-old kid who was so proud of his dad, whom he obviously loves deeply, that he was moved to tears. That's beautiful and a hell of a testament to their relationship. But sure, some people thought his reaction was over the top and weird, and therefore fair game, until they heard he had a disability. So to recap, it would have been A-OK in that crowd to bully a typical kid for acting atypical. But maybe he should be off limits now that they know he has a diagnosis. Pull up a chair, won't you, friends?" That's what she wrote. She said, "Being an accepting, inclusive, and not completely shitty human," what she wrote, "isn't about having access to everyone's medical records. It's about humanity. It's about not having to know that there's a label for a fellow human's unique constellation of strengths and challenges in order to approach them with compassion. It's about not needing an explanation for why someone comes across a little or a lot differently from the average bear in order to indulge their quirks, celebrate their differences, support their challenges, and accommodate their access needs to give them extra time and love and leeway. Labels, diagnoses, identities are important and valid and helpful in a million different ways, but they shouldn't ever be the ticket that we demand from others before granting them entry into the arena of our empathy, or in my lesson, our respect. The only fare needed is humanity. So lay off the kid, not just because he has a disability, because he's human. And that's reason enough," end quote. When I start preparing a lesson, Spirit just gives me stuff to tell y'all. So whoever that mother is that wrote that just hit my lesson spot on. Just because someone is a human being, they deserve and are entitled to our respect without us having to understand one thing more other than they're a soul inside a magic suit. The author Yvonne Pierre shared this wisdom. When you focus on someone's disability, you overlook their abilities, beauty, and uniqueness. Once you learn to accept and love them for who they are, you are subconsciously learning to love yourself unconditionally. Isn't that interesting and the truth? When you love others more, you unwittingly learn to love yourself more. And as I said, that's what I feel is my parental role in my daughter's life. And maybe you can apply this, or we can all apply this to the people closest to us. So beyond parenting, it's my spiritual calling and your spiritual calling to practice this acceptance and respect for everyone. It's a calling to live in relationship with all other people with acceptance and respect for their soul's choices in this lifetime, no matter what their souls chose. Talk about a change in status quo. So take a look around at the people in your life. Can you accept and respect each individual's unique and quirky physical form and personality, understanding everyone's on their own journey, learning whatever they're here to discover and learn, trying to unlock the door to self-love, which is what we're all trying to do. Each person is working on their own puzzles, trying to overcome their own unique challenges and remember their own spiritual wholeness. They are entitled to our respect. So I ask you to challenge yourself to practice this, because as a spiritual person, we're here to remember that according to our philosophy, every person is an individualization of the one spirit, regardless of physical or mental abilities. We look beyond the human form to consider others from a spiritual level. And what do we sing? You are the face of God. Let's remember that the whole point of life is to move from fear to love, from lack to abundance, from low vibration to high vibration. And we do that for ourselves. And when we do it for ourselves, the whole world improves. One of my favorite spiritual teachers is Oprah Winfrey. And she supports this perspective on life. She said the whole point of being alive is to evolve into the complete person you were intended to be. We have to respect people as they try to become the complete person they were intended to be. When we accept ourselves and others, we respect ourselves and others. And I want to read a quote from, it's a longer quote from Oprah, not on your slides, Rebecca. It says, it all boils down to one thing. It is your relationship to the source. And that relationship to which we call God, or don't call God, or don't even know is God. It is all that really matters. When you surrender and stop resisting and stop trying to change that which you cannot change, but be in the moment, be fully open to the blessings you have already received and those that are yet to come to you, and stand in that space of gratitude and honor and claim that for yourself, and look at where you are and how far you've come and what you've gotten and what you've accomplished and who you are. When you can claim that and see that, the literal vibration of your life will change. The vibration of your life will change. I want to summarize what Oprah said. She said, you're a God being, always connected to the divine at the soul level. Accept and respect yourself and your life. Live in gratitude for the vehicle you were given, you've already experienced, and be in expectation for the blessings that are yet to come. When you do all of that, you're moving from low vibration to high vibration, and life gets sweeter and sweeter. Accept and respect yourself and everyone else too. It's our birthright and everyone's divine entitlement. Will you pray with me? Know this with me. This is a spiritual life that we're all living, and it is perfect. And that our souls are always connected to that source of life and love. And every detail of our lives is by divine appointment. We are given everything we need to be the complete person we are here to be, to experience the things we are here to experience. And in this community, we respect each other and honor each other and celebrate each other just the way we are. And I'm so grateful that we have that space. Will you affirm it with me by saying, and so it is. Thank you.